You know what's wild? I've actually experienced more racism before I got into guns than I ever did after. And let that sink in. The minute I started walking into gun stores, going to gun shows, shooting competitions, I was bracing for judgment. And what I got instead was curiosity, conversation, and respect. But if you listen to the media, you'd think gun culture is just angry rednecks on one side and gangbangers with illegal switches on the other. And that's why when I heard Charleston White say this in a video that's literally titled "America's Most Racist Town Meets Charleston White," I had to speak on it.
Black people got the guns too, though.
Black people don't have the training. Most black people don't know how to break down a gun, don't go to the gun range, don't do no training, don't own no bullets, don't even know anything about guns. All they know how to just do is shoot a gun.
Now, when he said that hit different, not because it was shocking. Charleston White lives off of shock value, but because I know exactly why he said it, and I know why it sounds true to some people, because the media never wanted responsible black gun ownership to be a thing. We weren't just ignored, we were actively erased, or worse, we were exaggerated into caricatures to scare everybody else. So when I finally started buying guns, I didn't post about it. I didn't tell my friends, I didn't even tell my mom. I was hiding my guns under the goddamn bed like I was hiding crack cocaine, because growing up black, guns weren't a right. Guns weren't freedom. Guns were criminal. But Charleston's not totally right either, because the reason some black people don't know about guns isn't because we can't. It's because we were never supposed to. So I have a group chat with a bunch of my friends that I grew up with, and I'm kind of like the gun guy of the group chat, obviously. Most of them are black. Actually, all of them are black. Some are really pro-gun, a few are kind of there, and then there are the ones who want nothing to do with it. One of them sent a video titled "America's Most Racist Town Meets Charleston White." Now, if you don't know the history behind that, the YouTuber Pody got famous off of a video called "For $500, Act Black in America's Most Racist Town." That video blew up. He went to this small, notoriously racist town in Arkansas and started asking white folks to act black. And the response were something else.
I have a dream that all the white kids and black kids will hold hands one day walking down the street.
So you coming to the cookout, my brother? Yeah, so we coming to the cookout. Yeah, we got the Kool-Aid and the fried chicken. The shawties. Hey, y'all come out to the cookout tonight. We're gonna have the Kool-Aid, the fried chicken, and the shawties.
So fast forward and Pouty brings in Charleston White. Now Charleston is a contrarian to the core. He'll say wild stuff just to say it, but buried underneath the chaos sometimes, he drops a perspective that makes you stop. In this case, it's what he said about black people and guns. Now, I didn't grow up with firearms. I wasn't taught anything about them. All I knew about guns came from media. And when you grow up black, the media only gives you two options. You're either the thug or you're the victim. I didn't even touch my first firearm until I was in my 20s. And I remember a moment, I had a roommate who had a friend who came over with a Glock. At the time, I thought the dude was an expert. Looking back now, with everything I now know about guns, I realize he wasn't. Not really. That's where Charleston has a sliver of truth. He's being reckless with how he says it, but I get what he's trying to get at. In a lot of black households, parents try to keep their kids completely away from firearms. It's guns and drugs, stay away. That's drilled into your head. That's how I was raised. And then you have the other subculture, the street side, where guns are part of survival. If you're living that life, you carry it because it's part of the environment. It's a necessity. A cowboy in the Old West without a gun was underdressed. Same thing in the streets. Different era, same logic. The problem is, in the streets, resources are limited. They might have access to guns, but not to training, knowledge, or legal carry. That's why there's such a gap, not just in ownership, but in understanding. Meanwhile, rural white America, they've been passing guns down like family heirlooms. It's tradition, it's sport, it's part of American identity. And historically, we weren't allowed to participate in that. We weren't even allowed to own firearms. We had to do everything in secret, if at all. So yeah, there's a knowledge gap. Not because we aren't capable, but because we were kept out.
The average black person in America do not own a legal firearm. The average black person do not know how to break down a gun, let alone how to clean a gun, let alone how to make bullets, how to make bombs. The average black person do not go to the gun facilities and train how to shoot.
Charleston White is painting with a broad brush, but he's not totally wrong. He's just not giving the full context. What he's leaving out is that a lot of us, black gun owners, did learn. And we learned quietly. We didn't post about it. We didn't wear it on our sleeve because we didn't want to be judged or labeled or profiled. I know I didn't initially. Even when I started buying guns legally, I was doing it in secret. I'd literally hide them under my bed like I was doing something wrong. And you know what's crazy? I got more pushback for being a black gun owner advocating for responsible ownership than I've seen some dudes get for waving illegal guns around on IG Live. And I didn't get why until I started getting deeper into advocacy. That's when I realized the media's job isn't to show responsible gun ownership, it's to dissuade people from becoming gun owners, period. Whether that's scaring white folks with images of violent black culture or scaring black folks with images of racist white gun owners playing soldier in the wood. Either way, the goal is fear. Fear equals control. And it's not just the media, it's celebrities too. Back in 2013, Russell Simmons wrote a blog titled NRA and Black People. Ain't nobody got time for that. It was dismissive, it was ignorant, and completely out of touch with the reality of black gun ownership. He wasn't trying to have a conversation, he was trying to shut one down. So I responded. I wrote an article called Russell Simmons Gets Schooled by Black Gun Enthusiast Colion Noir and Turns to Yoga for Comfort, breaking down exactly why his stance was dangerous, not just politically, but culturally. Because what Simmons and a lot of folks don't realize is that the Second Amendment, though it is for defending against tyranny, for people like me, it's about also having control. It's about not being left helpless when the system fails to protect you. And then there's an entire generation of black Americans waking up to that truth.
If it was up to you, would you want all black people gone?
I wouldn't want to be around them.
Yeah, I guess that's real. I mean, he said his piece, but that's why we carry, not out of hate, but out of awareness, out of preparation, out of the same instinct every other group of people exercises without question. And now we're not just owning guns, we're trying to change our narrative when it comes to gun ownership in the community. And luckily, we have social media to do it. And if you're someone stepping into gun ownership for the first time, or even someone who's been in the game for years, make sure you're protected. That's why this channel is sponsored by USCCA. Now look, USCCA isn't the only option out there, but the reason I prefer them is because their coverage isn't just about legal defense, it's comprehensive. It's training, it's about mindset, it's resources that help you before, during, and after a self-defense situation. Because unfortunately, doing the right thing doesn't mean the legal system sees it that way. So if you're serious about protecting yourself in your future, I'm gonna put a link in the description section of this video, and understand there are other programs out there other than USCCA. I'd rather you choose one of those than choose nothing. But if you wanna learn more about a USCCA membership, I'm put a link in the description section of this video. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.